Mimo bibia kwaba ebusiafo. I've seen something on social media and I want to talk about it. Let us have a reaction on it. Now, Abrantia na or that screen is no. Your friend will call a suman. I'm saying I can't want some sound on my platform way so. Na call a suman a President Akufo Addo. Ne lawyer. Me personal lawyer. Emrana President Akufo Addo was president no. Na call a suman de nyama bi aba to social media. Efa Gertrude Torkornoo. The removal as the Chief Justice no Osha Koisuman or Dream Wantias say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama buying it to me Gertrude Torkornoo as the Chief Justice. Now the reason why I'm even doing this video enyama bi Koisuman kan when Charlotte Osei was removed and enyama bi walker ende as Gertrude Torkornoo has been removed. But before I met sure Charlotte said DNA waka no. Yenhwe nsemo a waka afa Gertrude Torkornoo de ne ho. Na yeria na yama wati ase. Politics ne de obi ane ni interest. Na answer ne beto aso na your first time wa ha subscribe na click notification bell ne so. We yan say latest news bi aba wonsa ebeka. Na mesremo utie me na wefu eso. Na wo pese wefu eba for mo a mesrewo book na eda screen so no. Ebetro nyama miensa 3 secrets nyama miensa oya ebema wefu aba form in the shortest possible time. Mema 1 month se wudi nyama ewo book we so now ye na every single day 1 month obe unse nya wefu ebete na book no ne bonya den 100 cedis per upe bia to 0558074986 free and our WhatsApp number no obenya book ni bi and as a link na comment box ni mo no. If you are watching on YouTube, you can click the link in the comment box and get the book. Now, let's go to Kole Suman. And someone what did I'll say, Ghana's Chief Justice was removed by President Mahama for 2 simple reasons. Complying with the travel policy of the Judicial Service and exercising administrative powers granted to her by the Constitution. Here is why we should be concerned. Now, Chief Justice no, ye no. But Koesuman episode say or no ninti asiemu no the entire Chief Justice ye no under Mahama and say or comply with the travel policy not just a boom brasso or sanso say o ye ne juma pepe person ye will say o ye ne juma no now so still ye no into say Ghanaians should be concerned. Now let's go to why he's saying we should be concerned. Let's read. Or say the letter from the the letter from the secretary to the President, to the Chief Justice, on her removal, stated 3 reasons. She breached the travel policy. One, she breached the travel policy. 2, she transferred a judicial service staff. And 3, she suggested judges for promotion. These were her sins. Now, Koesuma Ntuaso, I will say, these sins were determined by a biased committee that denied her basic rights that every person is entitled to under the rules of natural justice. The committee was biased because its chairman had given decisions in favor of the petitioner in the court. I say, the Chief Justice had been on the dissenting end of those decisions. The committee had adjourned to all the Chief Justice to file her address, and before she could do so, it was purportedly handling over its recommendations to the President. Now, Otiaso can say committee na omohe Chief Justice no ninsem ne so they remove Chief Justice ninsem so wo yi no committee ne kromo ye bias. Dey ntia na committee ne ye bias ta cases because so ewo court na judge a ote committee ne so no na odi ema petitioner na wo ma ye. So basically Koesuman is letting us understand that under President Akufo Addo the judges were biased towards I mean basically that's what he's saying, right? He's admitting, because I would say there is a different case na judge Eddie ama wobi and a different case aba na in as much as it's a different case no, because judge Eddie ama nipa krone dainti different case aba inti still o say judge Eddie ama nipa krone because the judge is biased, and based on that you are saying the judge is biased there, then you are letting us understand that Probably maybe under President Akufo Addo no. Judges no sana na wo ye adwuma. Nti we di case am obi pen. Na nipa ko ne san so back court. Bioma. It sounds like we di ama nipa ko ne pen nti no. Likely so be di ama say nipa ko ne biom without looking at the fact of the matter. So are you telling us that that's what the Chief Justice did in favor of Afenyomakin? When Afenyomakin sent the Speaker of Parliament to court in the dying days of President Akufo Addo, the governance na. Basically, that's what you are saying. Because if there is a different case with different evidence, which is different totally, now say Judge Diama Obi. Now there is another case, different case. Now say because Judge Diama Nipa Krono the first time, it's the second time the Judge Diama Nipa Krono, while this time around facts no a different there. Then you are telling us, say under President Akufo Addo no, not judges no, sana na wamodwin. But when we were telling you guys that the judges were biased, you told us, say intro, judges ne biased, me boy, and then the judge ne biased, just because we did case some will be paying. Yanto as was say, of course, the president is bound to act when the recommendations were submitted. But the question is, why hasn't the president released the reports to the committee? Why hasn't the president released the report of the committee? The Chief Justice and her lawyers do not have the purported report to date. It was say Annie or admit to say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Emra Eshan say committee the recommendations are omo de beba no say wo diso oni say no kware na so obi sase de ntia na His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on release report ne ko Suman. Let me look at your face to say this. You're a lawyer. You know what Article 146 says. You know what Article 146 said about this whole process. That the process should be held in camera. If the framers of the Constitution felt that the president should release the report and come back, because Article 146 aka say man release the report no, and the process ne can any say Ghana ni bia no etino. It will be unconstitutional for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to release the report. And so if you are calling for Mahama to release the report, you are indirectly telling Mahama to do an unconstitutional act. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is law abiding. He's not going to do any unconstitutional act. Just to, just to maybe at the end, no, I say, oh no, your needs, say, oh, meet you needs. It's unconstitutional, and he's not going to do that. Now I say, is the committee above the law? Is the committee above the Constitution? Release the report for everyone to scrutinize it. But here is why they cannot release the report. Because the world will see that the Chief Justice was removed on very frivolous grounds. It was said the NGO to me release the report no, and they say Ghana fun na be hu say Chief Justice and the NTA yi no, and they say na Mahama oni asem and obi ani asem tia no. Na yesheda ni yi no. No problem. She was removed for enjoying the benefits of the travel policy of the Judicial Service. There was no reckless expenditure or any of those things aligned by the committee and the petitioner. The Chief Justice was not the spending officer of the Judicial Service. Anyone can say that, oh, I'm not the spending officer of this, I'm not the spending officer of this. Anyone who says that, you are acting like you are not a Ghanaian and you don't know. Is President Akufo Addo the spending officer? President Akufo Addo is not the spending officer. Technically, no government official is the spending officer. The finance minister and the spending officers no, and a spending officer. And so when they didn't in Crawford Ejina Court, because even though the finance minister is the spending officer, other people edisika. So you can't hide behind I am not the spending officer. And then me yisika, and yesi edisika, say me yisika no, media me yisika. So you can't hide behind that. You can't hide behind that. Yes, right. I say the spending officer is the Judicial Secretary. Thus, when the constitutionally mandated body asked about those expenditure, it was not directed at the Chief Justice, but the Judicial Secretary. The Judicial Secretary provided satisfactory answers to the Auditor General. The Judicial Secretary's answers were satisfactory because the Auditor General did not disallow and surcharge. Indeed, if the Auditor General had disallowed and surcharged, it would have been to the Judicial Secretary and not the Chief Justice. It beats any reasoning that a former Auditor General sat as a member of the committee and could not bring this experience to bear, but was rather concerned about writing a post on social media. Koyesuman, and the Domlevu Hansem na wakano. Say ono your former auditor general na wakwakotina board so and wahe Emma Boni BC. You were in this country when you were the legal advisor to the president. You were in this country where the president took an unconstitutional or an illegal action against Domlevu. As the legal advisor to the president, what did you tell the president? Yes, I'm saying an illegal action because the court ruled that the president Akufo Addo against Domlevu was illegal. And then the other case said Domlevu tina ho and na wama boni esi and na wanka he na waye we and then Domlevu nkasa meboa. Mumo ye no boni na mo ankasa na de indeed so oye boni a and de wankasa meboa. Na mo de ya na ye se mo pe na mo ye nipa ho. Mo de mo nye obi boni na nso in quote obi ye mo boni. And I'm not saying say Gertrude Torkornoo mpo ye ne boni, but in that context no mo de mo ye obi boni de ye okay. Now so ye mo mu nipa boni de a enye okay meboa. Why are they? Also, to date, those purported expenditures have not been disallowed, and no one has been surcharged. The matter came before the Judicial Council, which also dealt with it. So, how then can the Chief Justice be removed for this reason? Also, the second reason was because she exercised her administrative power of transfer of staff. The staff that was transferred was a prime suspect in case of record tampering in the Jachi Kwesin case, a case of very intense public interest. An investigation was conducted, and the disciplinary committee of the Judicial Council looked into the matter. Following the conclusion of the disciplinary committee's work, the Chief Justice, as administrative head, took the decision to separate the two suspects. The end result was the prime suspect being transferred. Is it now the case that every transfer of staff of the Judicial Council, of the Judicial Service is a ground for removal of the Chief Justice? Listen, you can say whatever you want to say, but you don't, as a Chief Justice, you see, as a Chief Justice, you don't accuse someone or accusing a Pakrono area cause the person to be transferred to a different terrain. You don't know the psychological effect it's going to have to the person on the person, and at the end of the day, you want to say accusation now the boni Pakrono it was a lie. And then today you speak for the person as if say the nipakone you know. I mean, for crying out loud, the person was the Chief Justice, and for the Chief Justice, one thing and the will soon for say fair trial. Was she fair to the person that was transferred? Clearly not. But yes, you want to defend the Chief Justice or the removed Chief Justice, so you are saying whatever you want to say, no problem. Also, the third reason for her removal was that she suggested that the president should promote justices who had distinguished themselves on the bench. This ground was contained in an earlier petition which was dismissed as unmeritorious. That notwithstanding, the Chief Justice is fully aware of the process for appointing Supreme Court justices. That was not the first time justices to the Supreme Court were being appointed under her watch. Her suggestion to the president, which was later tabled before the Judicial Council, did not make it to the president because of timing and not because she did not have the right to make those suggestions. What then is her crime? He goes on to say, all of these reasons do not meet the grounds. Where is the misconduct? What is the stated misbehavior or incompetency? The supposed reports of the committee must be made public for everyone to read it and appreciate the thinking of the committee. What I want to tell Koyesuman is Mahama what to do. The Constitution does not tell Mahama to release the report, so it's not by force or power. Be release your power, own release it. And I don't think Mahama is going to even release the report, and there's nothing you can do. You're a lawyer. If you think that Mahama is supposed to release the report and he's not releasing the report, go to court. It's as simple as that. Go to court. Right? Go to court. Now, this same Koyesuman, let's read. When Charlotte Osei was removed as a year EC chair, this is what Koyesuman wrote. I say, Mrs. Charlotte Osei is a lawyer, yet she ignored the law in the execution of her duties as chairperson of the Electoral Commission. She took an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of Ghana. She didn't take that oath seriously and disregarded the laws of Ghana in the execution of her duties as chairperson of the Electoral Commission. She displayed arrogance, dereliction of duty, shirking of responsibility, arrogance of ignorance, among others, as head of the Electoral Commission. She refused to work as a team and declined good counsel when that could have saved her easily from being removed. She refused, failed, or neglected to read documents that had serious legal implications for her personally and for the national purse. She lacked corporate and management skills. Who simply writes okay on reports? No record of critical decisions at meetings. Even minutes were not taken. How about a memorandum or note circulated to participants of that meeting confirming that was discussed? I agree with the committee's findings and recommendations. And the Charlotte say committee netina sia. I agree. Oh, and the committee is biased. The committee were not biased against Charlotte say you agree with the committee's finding. Me wa okoto. Charlotte said, I agree with the committee's finding. Wait, I don't agree with the committee. The committee is biased. The committee is me say, Chatuchi Kata and some more kind, and no one is no. Chatuchi Kata, he's a prophet. I say, I agree with the committee's findings and recommendations. Mrs. Osei misconducted herself, amounting to misbehavior in office as chairperson of the Electoral Commission, and was incompetent. But knowing Mrs. Osei, she will appeal this decision. Her appeal will simply be grounded on the same argument she made before the committee, to wit, breach of procurement laws does not amount to misbehavior for the purposes of her removal from office. The appeal is likely to fail because I believe the courts are more prepared to protect the public purse of the Republic now more than ever. I think her removal should not be the end of this story. She must be charged with offenses she committed. And so, basically, Kwesuman was even calling for Charlotte Osei, say, Mayen remove Charlotte Osei keke. Yen Samson charge no. Not just yen chin in tomb. Atias yen chi Charlotte Osei in tomb because we are born maineka. And they get to talk on no dear, no dear. Some no dear any passing Charlotte Osei into no dear. Yen yano. Right? Brana. Omo ye na ye ka to mo se mo hwe yi na bibi ba mo hwe yi na bibi ba no na ye mo se enduru mo da because mo dia mo ye nipa sin nipa bia wo Ghana ha me bo a mo ye nipa bia sin nipa bia wo Ghana ha nti na ye mo se enduru mo da. All the controversial cases are na e koso ye ka to mo se mo hwe yi apan foforo betumi aba. You be held responsible for the decisions am take mo nwen Ghana ho na ye mo se sebe ni abodam and then say then Kwesuman enye su na osu on social media ne be bibi atias here enye su na osu on social media ne be bibi, and you know there's nothing His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is not going to release the report, and there's nothing you can do. If you think you can do something, go to court. It's as simple as that. You know what the Constitution says in Article 146. You know what the Constitution says. So that's that. Montreal, your comment box anymore. Charlotte said, "Yeah, no, we release the report. Even if you release the report, that was President Akufo Addo. This is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Montreal, your comment box anymore.